Folks, and we are back, and with audio this time. Those of you on YouTube wouldn't have noticed, but over on Twitch did not have audio for last match, so hopefully all of you over on stream can hear us now. If there are any technical issues whatsoever, please let us know over in chat. That being said, we do have Ghostface here, and it looks like we do see a little bit of an ultimate weapon here, friends.
Huge value, and honestly on this map the passive blindness is also going to be massively challenging for the survivors as well. Despite all of the location gathering we have from Ultimate Weapon, we have not found Chase yet.
Yeah, Ghostface got revealed a little bit early on, tried to stalk the Renato, but not with a lot of results or benefits. And looks like we will see them go back into their cloak, seeing a survivor here. That is the Kate, trying to get some stock, about 25% in. Kate unable to reveal them so far, about 2/3 of the way in. Kate about to get revealed, but they're going to disengage from the tile. They will get revealed and exposed, and looks like Ghostface is going to be trying to go for a quick first down here. However, Kate will be able to drop the pallet in time, and the timer is taken down before the exposed stats effect does end.
Fantastic use of God pallet, and honestly big value for the survivor there with the Ghostface swinging through. It looks like we're going to try and use as many of our resources as we possibly can. We've got Chase directly in the area where Corrupt Intervention is blocking the generators anyways, and we're doing a good job of preventing even a single tag. It will be huge value if not only are we able to keep Chase over here, but if we are able to do it without her taking a tag until that exposed status drops. And it looks like Ghostface might have dropped Chase.
Yeah, it looks like Ghostface has dropped Chase, and looks like they are going to be going elsewhere. We do see one gen popping up for these survivors. Ghostface finding a generator here, and looks like they are going to be looking around, trying to find where these survivors might be. Did get notified that there's a little bit of the echo on Scooby's side. We'll try and address that here in between rounds, but for now I'll just be doing a little bit of solo casting as Renato does get stocked there for the majority of their meter. However, Ghostface not going to go for the exposed just yet. However, I spoke a little bit too soon, and looks like Ghostface now actually going to quickly switch over to Mia, getting the immediate down on Renato. A little bit of an interesting play there by the Ghostface, but working out in their favor. As Scooby was saying in the last set, while you guys may have not heard it, was that being unpredictable sometimes a huge boon in the asset, especially to the killer. And we do see Deadman Switch here come into play as Nia did jump off that gen. Once again, Ghostface stalking a little bit more. We do see the unhook next to the Ghostface, a little bit of a miscommunication there by the survivors. Adam now going to be in a little bit of an unfortunate scenario as they are almost 99 on the stock meter. And looks like we will drop that chase. Ghostface setting up for later. We're going to try and tunnel out the Renato here. Let's take a look and see where Renato is right now. And Renato kind of just trying to hang out here at the tower. Ghostface trying to mind game, using the crouch, will successfully get the mind game to boot. However, Renato with the decisive strike will hit it and break free of Ghostface grasp as they will now make their way to another tile, but no resources in the immediate area. 3 seconds, just not long enough, but life giving Renato a second chance as they will get to a pallet and will go upstairs for the vault down. However, Ghostface not going to be chasing them. Renato kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, trying to keep an eye on both locations. You do see Adam, however, getting stalked and exposed. Adam now in chase, and for the next 60 seconds, will have to be aware of the Ghostface location. Adam trying to hide, and looks like Ghostface will have dropped chase as they are now on Kate instead. We hear the tear radius, but it's not really approaching Kate. It's possible that Ghostface might be elsewhere. Let's take a look and see. Looks like they're tracking someone, and I believe it might be the Kate, but it could be the Renato as well. But no, it's the Adam out of nowhere. Adam, I don't think even knew where the Ghostface was, and with them still being exposed, getting the insta down. A very good play there by the Ghostface, whether intentional or otherwise. And we are going to see Adam put up on the hook for the first time here. 2 hooks in for the Ghostface. 3 gens have been completed, though. These fires being very efficient in comparison to the previous set, with them on Wraith. Ultimate Weapon once again activating here, but no activations or procs of it, as we have not seen any screams from these survivors. And looks like we do see some kicks of the gen. No pop-up weasel. As far as perks are confirmed, we have confirmed Ultimate Weapon, Deadman Switch, Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, and of course, good old Corrupt Intervention. Ultimate Weapon getting a little bit of value there at the very end. And Ghostface trying to get a stock here. Will 99 the Nia from the looks of things. We will see a deliverance here from the Adam. And it looks like we will see Ghostface dropping on by and trying to find where they might be for the tunnel out. We notice that strike has already been used. Adam not knowing where Ghostface is, but still having some time left before the broken Stas effect. And looks like we will see a kick of the gen, but a drop of the chase, and we will see Kate here. 4th gen popping off, and looks like we will find the Nia, who will be insta exposed, and looking like they are going to pursue the chase further. Nia dropping the pallet. Let's even get a POV of the Nia's chase here, and we do see them moving into the library. Ghostface going to be breaking off from the looks of things, knowing that they are not going to be able to get this down within the time limit needed. And yeah, Ghostface all but disappeared from the looks of things, and will find themselves a Kate instead, who will get tagged. Overcome, though, getting them a little bit of extra distance. Ghostface is going to take some time to kick the gen, regressing it by 2.5%, as well as that 0.3% per second thereafter. And let's do a quick test real quick, as I do not see any echo on the audio mixer. Let's take a look real quick as Kate and friends heal up. And Scoob, do you want to say something real quick, friend? All right, looks like Ghostface is going to be back in chase. They will not be able to get the heal off in time, but a body block from the quickly healed Nia. And looks like Echo is back, unfortunately, so we'll mute that once again. Apologies for technical difficulties, folks, as we try and fix it in real time. Just as these survivors try and fix these generators in real time while being pursued by a bloodthirsty murderer. Kate, though, will not be in chase for much longer, though. Looks like Ghostface will have transferred over to someone else. Looking around, we do see the Renato here, and looks like Renato will be making the tag here before reaching the pallet in time. Renato making the way over to the window vault, and once again hitting some life to get a little bit of extra distance. Renato has only been hooked once thus far, so Ghostface in a little bit of trouble here, really needing to get a survivor out of the match if at all possible. And looks like Ghostface will pursue Renato. We do have a very strong pallet here as long as mind games are done correctly. And looks like Renato being very patient, not wanting to drop right away. Ghostface going to be going for the lunge, and with the vacuum pallet back, Renato will end up going down. Let's take a look and see where these other survivors are. 3 on the gen. Looks like they will get it. No Scourge Arcane Resonance incoming from the Renato, and I doubt the Ghostface will be able to get a ultimate weapon proc either before the gen is done. So 5 gens completed, X-Gates now powered. Ghostface now going to be pursuing the Nia from the looks of things, and the Nia will end up getting chased out and into this other tile. Ghostface trying to go for a little bit of a mind game there, but we will see that drop of pallet. Ghostface trying to assess the 50-50, but failing on it. We will see Kate on the unhook, and looks like they're trying to go for the exit gates, but are not going to power them just yet. Ghostface finding Renato and Adam, and looks like we will get the tag on the Adam. Ghostface is going to be trying to pursue them, will cut them off at the pass, and looks like they will end up getting the down. Other survivors, however, I imagine on the exit gates here, we do see Nia here about 50% on that exit gate. Adam still slugged out for a little bit longer. Ghostface looking around, seeing if there are any survivors nearby, and there is the Renato sitting and ready and waiting for the pallet stun, but looks like they will not be able to get the save here, as Ghostface will claim another hook stage here, as I do imagine these survivors will end up with a 3-man out. Nia right down the hallway, though, ready and waiting. Ghostface is going to be stalking them. Looks like survivors have called it. We will see one survivor get out, and followed by Renato and Nia as well, though. There we go. I was about to say, maybe they'll try a daring escape at the very last moment. And there it is. Well played by the survivors of Crimes. And we, folks, will be going to set 3, as set 1 was a tie set. All right, and we are back for set number 3 of this match between Crimes and RDE, as we are going to be seeing RDE's Onryo against Crimes Survivor Team. And I am joined for real this time by Lieutenant Scooby.
Lieutenant Scooby without echo, Lieutenant Scooby with audio. Finally, these hindrances are off.
Yes, indeed. So once again, chat, thank you much for bearing with us today. And if there are any more technical issues, definitely let us know in chat. And Geeky will relay that information to me as soon as possible so I can make any on-the-fly adjustments. We do see Nia here going for a tape. We'll get a little bit of distance there. Maybe a sprint burst potentially. Onryo going for a swing and a miss, though.
Really good timing for Onryo to quickly find a survivor at the moment after they pull that tape out of the TV. As we all know, the moment you have a tape on you, if you get hit, you gain stacks, despite the fact that you no longer gain condemned stacks from passive teleporting. So if he can stay on chase with Nia, it will really benefit him.
Yeah, gonna be really interesting as we do see Onryo going for the chase on the Quentin instead. Once again, kind of this hit and run play style that we're kind of seeing with the Wraith as well. Seems to be the flavor of killer that we're seeing here. It did a hit on the Leon though, and I do believe I did see a tape in hand as well.
Yeah, we're going to be stacking up condemned stacks with these constant teleports and successful tags on survivors who have tapes on hand. And it looks like, do they have the add-on? that spreads the condemned states when with successful heals? Is that the audio notification
I
we saw with
believe
that heal?
that is the case. We take a look at the Onryo's add-ons once again. Yeah, we do
Yeah.
indeed see that. So Survivor's gonna have to be very careful managing their stacks of condemned. Otherwise, it will get very difficult to not get condemned and insta-killed. And as we are basing the win condition off of hook states here, every hook state's going to matter, and if you can get 3 for the price of 1, that is going to be a huge boon for this killer. However, looks like Onryo will find Chase, and that is going to be the case now in Chase with Onryo getting a little bit of distance to the next tile. But Quentin here as well, looking like we're going to be looping with friends, but Onryo not going to be going for the Cage now on the Quentin as they are injured. But once again, going to be teleporting. Looks like they're really relying on this add-on to get these stacks of Condemned.
Yeah, and I think rightly so. We see the Survivor who just dropped out of Chase there going for a self-heal to avoid adding a further stack of Condemned. But this is going to be a game of extreme aggression on the Onryo's part, trying to keep enough pressure on the team that they cannot manage these Condemned stacks in order to secure just a massive snowball while keeping them off of gens. And at the same time, the Survivors are going to have to play prudently, conservatively, attentively. They are going to have to reset aggressively, manage condemned states aggressively, communicate really aggressively about killer location with teleporting and the ability of the killer to hide from the Survivors. It is going to be a test of teamwork for this Swift.
Yeah, and we saw it right there in real time as you're saying it, especially with the Onryo sensing that the Quentin here was close to their Condemned. Kate coming in for the body block. We're going to see it from the Nia as well. But the thing is, you can only do this for so long. Not to mention, Onryo's kind of forgetting one really important part of the kit. They can phase through the body blocking Survivors to get the down on the Quentin. But Quentin going to be here at the tile here. Onryo trying to go for a fake, will not successfully get it. And Quentin running for their life here, as if they go down, that is going to be 1, 2, 3 hook states and then sent back to campfire.
That was a fantastic choice there by Quentin to avoid vaulting that pallet. They've got great patience and they need it under all of this pressure, but it looks like they are out of space. Oh, right on that pallet. Can we manage? No, there is no save to manage because they are fully condemned.
Yes, indeed, and that there will be Quentin sent back to campfire via the entity. We do see Onryo teleporting around, trying to also get these other Survivors condemned as well. Looks like we do see what looks to be the Leon, actually no, the Nia here in chase with the Onryo. Nia with just about half of their condemned stacks currently applied and will go down to the Onryo. Looks like this is actually going to be the first hook of this set here, as Onryo getting the kill on the Quentin by their own hands. And as far as perks from the Onryo are concerned, we are looking at a Sloppy Butcher, a Scourge Choke Pain Resonance, which did get a activation there, and we did see a Hex earlier, which has since been cleansed with the Mori, which was Hex Ruin, a perk we don't see all too often, but with the Onryo managing these chases the way they have been, it makes a lot of sense.
It absolutely does. Ruin has been nerfed into the ground compared to what it was in the past, but in some niche circumstances, and an Onryo build like this is certainly one of them. Massive value to be had. With the stream delay, I assume it's okay to mention in discussion the name of a Survivor perk.
Absolutely, as Survivor perks should have more or less been revealed to the Onryo at this point in time. More than welcome to state what that perk is.
I was just going to say that you talked about finally we have a single Survivor has gotten a single hook state, and the one Survivor who they have gotten hooked was their Deliverance Survivor, which is just really, really rough. Deliverance being a key tool to help a team of 3 manage as if they were a team of 4, not having to pull somebody off a gen for reset to get unhooked. That out of the way, in addition to a Survivor dead at 3 gens with all of this gen pressure, is just a lot to manage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was looking good at the beginning there. Survivors were managing their condemned states. They're managing the gens and kind of chewing through them bit by bit by bit. But towards the end there, unfortunately, the Onryo just was able to be directly on them at all times and really just started to apply the pressure. And we are seeing that here, as well as Nia now in chase with the Onryo. And looks like this will be a window vault here from the Nia. A little bit of delay there. Not sure if that was purposeful on the Nia's part or if that was just a little bit of delay from spectators' point of view. But we will see the pre-drop there from Nia. Once again, getting to win that 50-50 and getting a little bit of distance there as the Onryo will teleport away. However, does not sound like they are close by to the Nia.
No, it looks like they are going to switch and pressure somebody else. Still, we have a lot of resources in this area. Let's see if the Kate can manage them well. Almost disrespectful to Quentin's body there.
Yeah, just a little bit, you know, just tossing the pallet onto the Quentin, and we are going to be seeing Nia back in chase. Nia just looking behind them, trying to get as much as possible, but with the pallet down, there is no way of escape, and Onryo will get the pickup there. Nia now going to be put on second hook stage, one stage away from being sent back to Campfire via the Entity. We do see one survivor on the generator off in the distance. Looks like Leon here trying their best to get another gen completed. However, we are going to see Onryo get the kick and no real regression outside of the normal base regression. However, Onryo finding the Leon and will get the hit here before power.
Good choice by Leon, though, to avoid needlessly dropping that pallet when you're going to take attack anyway, and taking the distance that they can get, hopefully pulling chase. It looks like intentionally pulling chase away from the key generators that need to get broken up. But as that happens, really switching over to a different survivor, still pressuring in that same area. Her area denial of this 3-gen is just brutal.
Yeah, absolutely. And swinging through the pallet once again, these survivors, I want to say, have been doing one thing really, really well, and that is being patient with the pallets, knowing full well when they have just enough distance to avoid that hit. Onryo, to be fair, being a little bit aggressive with some of these swings, but I mean, they have been rewarded with the vacuum pallets as well, so you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons there of being just maybe a bit too aggressive. That being said, looks like Onryo has dropped chase once again, teleporting around trying to find where these survivors are at, and will find, I think, both the Leon and the Kate here.
Ooh, and that's fantastic value, reading the way, almost hating survivor gets. We don't run through those, so we're going to have plenty of time now as Survivor to play this pallet. But we zone them correctly. Ooh, that is rough.
Yeah, an unfortunate circumstance there by Leon trying to mind game the Onryo there, just unsuccessful doing so, instead getting grabbed at the very last moment. Survivors have completed the 3rd gen, so 2 gens away from the X8s being powered. However, things still looking a bit rough here as survivors are going to see Nia going down in exchange for the 4th generator. I do believe this will be Nia sent back to Campfire via the Entity, leaving just the Kate and Leon to complete this last gen.
Yeah, at this point, you could forgive the survivors for focusing on additional gen completions over escapes. And with the survivor-sided 3-gen that they have orchestrated here, if they do a little bit of pre-leaving and stay out of each other's way as they try to complete gens, and if they work gens on opposite ends of the map, it's definitely feasible that they might be able to secure an additional gen completion, which would be significant points-wise for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely, especially as gens are the primary win condition here. So we're going to have to wait and see what the results are from the other side of things with Crime's Killer to RD's Survivor team. However, looks like Onryo's still just kind of meandering around trying to find what gens these survivors are working on, as we're going to see that teleport back over towards the middle of the map and this generator that Kate was working on earlier. but sounds like no survivors are nearby.
It is so difficult with the ability she has to teleport to take advantage of that survivor side at 3 gen, but still a good choice. They get a full reset done during the time when she is burning her TVs, and now temporarily her teleporting capabilities are going to be heavily reduced before they get back on pushing this 3 gen from 2 different directions.
Yeah, however, one thing, while Kate does have a tape in hand, Leon does not. So as the Hanro is teleporting around and catching the Leon off guard, they're also gaining stacks of Condemned here. And we do see them with just about half of their Condemned meter currently applied. So if the Hanro does get them condemned, they'll not only reveal their location, but also will be able to mori them out of the game, as we will see a quick sneak surprise hit there on the Kate, and that will also get them some additional condemned, as they did have a tape in hand.
I think it would almost be interesting to see if Leon allowing him to get fully condemned would be temptation enough for Onryo to commit to him enough that the Kate could get another gen complete.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility, but at this point in time, looks like Onryo's satisfied with just the kind of cat and mouse gameplay here, trying to slowly but surely grind this game to a halt and ensuring that they are able to stop this last gen from getting completed. We do see some additional progression here, potentially from the Kate, though we do not see any blood trail suggesting that they have been nearby anytime soon.
We also still have 2 stacks of pain resonance left, one for each of these 2 remaining survivors. So if we can get another down and it's not down, it is in fact a hook opportunity that will do a lot, especially if the other survivor is injured, to giving them time, giving our killer time to catch up to the other survivor before they can get a gen complete.
Well, funny enough that you say that, because actually there's only 1 stack left in the game, even though there are 2 available. And the reason for that being is Quentin was never hooked prior to getting moried. So right now, Kate is the only target for Scourge Hook Pain Residence, and I imagine that they would prefer to just get the Condemned Kate out of the match, but looks like they will be in chase with them, will get the hit here at the tile, and looks like they will knock over Slug out instead. Will get that Scourge Hook Pain Resonance and maybe a little bit of information before going for the Leon. If we take a look at the condensed status effects real quick, we see that Kate was pretty close to Leon, about over 50% for their condemned stat, so no information gotten right away, and Kate just unable to wiggle off Onryo's shoulders there fast enough.
Good catch with the pain resonance stacks, and yeah, that is really going to be debilitating to their ability to try and slam out one additional gen, that 25% chunk. And of course now Onryo relentlessly hunting for Leon. He has a few different options with pull, with trying to wait out, but it does look like they are going to expediently head back to campfire there in order to give Leon the best possible chance at some hatch RNG. And we've got the Leon immediately in chase. Can he get to hatch?
They would, but I think that either we're disconnecting or the killer's disconnecting, as even as spectator, I can't really move around all too much, friends. Checking my internet connection, and dedicated servers not responding, disconnected. Now, I'll be honest, folks, I don't know if I disconnected and that was DVD doing DVD things to me, or if the game disconnected. We do still have the option to spectate, but no longer. So, all right, and we are back, this time with Crimes versus Chronic. And round number 2 on the Suffocation Pit, and we are going to be seeing Crimes killing against Chronic's Survivor team as the nurse. And looks like we see a little bit of a ultimate weapon.
We do indeed see ultimate weapon. So do not see corrupt. While nurse with ultimate weapon has a lot of resources to ensure that we get into a chase and able to quickly end it. Huge issues if you are unable to secure that result.
Yeah, no, especially as Nurse with a very quick down here, doing a fantastic job as they are able to get a quick down. Ultimate Weapon getting them some quick information. If we're taking a look at the Nurse's perks as well, let's see if there's any more that have been revealed, and that would be a Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance, and keen-eyed viewers may have also noticed a Agitation in the mix.
Indeed, indeed. Making sure with that reduced movement speed that Nurse has that she can get the value out of Pain Resonance and deal with some hook RNG. We've got that quick first down, despite the gem pressure spread out that we probably saw during that initial chase. Now it's on the survivors to respond.
And once again, seeing that scream there, it looks like Renato might be in the territories of the Nurse, though no sign of them right away. We see Nia kind of moving towards the hook, trying to get in with a sprint burst, and we actually do see a perk on Nia, which may have helped him out a lot there, getting him for that unhook, which was in fact a Calm Spirit, meaning that they do not scream as a result of Ultimate Weapon.
Really, really helpful. Just like Distortion is helpful for dealing with proxy camping with nowhere to hide or other ore reading options. Really fantastic blinks though by this Nurse. I mean, they have been in a position.
And a really, really good job by the Nurse here, applying a lot of good pressure. Survivors unable to complete any gen so far, but first gen being completed. We do see Renato just trying to hold out, make use of this long wall here, and they will be able to do so as Nurse will end up over blinking. Renato, though, now being a rock and a hard place, quite literally, as they will end up going down here. And this will be first hook for the Renato. And looks like we will see a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance coming in for just a moment. We're aggressive with progression by 25%, but Survivor's doing a good job here. We see this gen on about 75%. Both the Survivors here, though, will scream as a result of Ultimate Weapon, but neither one of them in immediate chase, though we do see a Pop Goes Weasel regressing that gen by 30% of its current progression, and it looks like Nurse knows that Fingman's nearby, but unable to track down exactly where they're at.
Yeah, with two survivors injured, we really are in a situation, and there we go. What I was going to get at, where you have got to be careful with the Nurse, especially a Nurse who is this capable of making the blink consistently. You've got nicely done. You've got to be careful to not allow those health states to stack up, or the entire game will quickly snowball in the kill phase.
Yeah, and we will see that down there on the Fangmin. Fangmin doing a good job using the outskirts of the map to their advantage. And they will always say Nurse, kind of like a knight in chess, really rough and lose a lot of versatility on the edges of the map as they aren't able to use their blink to the fullest of their ability, where Survivors really do have a lot of movement and a lot of obstacles to use to their advantage. That being said, we do see Survivors kind of hanging around. No Ultimate Weapon just yet revealing their location. Looks like Nurse wanting to just proxy camp the hook here. However, they do need to be careful as Survivors are able to self-unhook themselves.
They are indeed, and we have got, I thought we might be about to see a pallet stun on Nurse. We have got some fantastic value out of Balanced Landing. It looked like that was in time. And a good value out of that Nurse swinging through there as well. We're gonna try and break away and issue crash marks, but the Nurse is not gonna be fooled. Moving back into mid, still looping around where gens have been complete so far, giving their teammates an opportunity to continue to pressure gens. And we have seen value in this chase, despite the really effective downs there by Nurse. We've got fantastic pressure on the 2 gens remaining, and now 1 gen remaining. Guilt, I mean, what do you think of this? We've seen really great blinks by the Nurse, but this gen pressure is just relentless.
Yeah, no, Survivor's been doing a fantastic job as far as gens are concerned. However, Scourge Hook Pain Resonance coming in clutch there, as we did see that gen get regressed by 25%, and we see the Nurse coming through as well with what is going to be a Pop Goes the Weasel, regressing by another 30% on top of which. So Nurse could potentially get some additional hook states here. However, I do imagine we are going to see the Exegates powered and at least an escape, if not 2.
Which is an incredible result when versing a nurse, especially a nurse with perks in her arsenal like ultimate weapon, pain res, agitation. Oh, are we gonna see it? Are we gonna see it? Oh, we are gonna see it! They get the flashlight blind!
Fantastic job there by the Fangman, getting the save. I imagine that's a narrow angle, as Fangman had to be right up against the hill there to get it. Nurse a little bit offended by that. Looks like they're going to drop chase the Renato instead. Going to go for the Fangman. Will get the M1 hit there, but they will be able to follow up with a quick blink thereafter. Fangman trying to go for the stun. Will successfully get it too.
A pallet stun and an incredibly tight flashlight blind on the nurse. These survivors are pulling out all of the stops, and now we see the results. The last gen complete, and the survivor, the only survivor on Death Hook, Slug, presents an incredible opportunity depending on their positioning and the nurse's commitment. Ooh, another loud noise notification, trying probably to keep the nurse's attention over here. But if we can see them get that survivor up, we could even see this team 4 out nurse.
Unfortunately for the Renato, they will get spotted by that ultimate weapon. Renato hoping that they're going to drop chase entirely, but Nurse will come back, get the hook here with agitation in hand. Fangman getting healed off the ground. You do see them off in the distance, but however, they are going to be making their way over towards the exit gate. Looking like this will be a 3-man out for this survivor team, as I think they're going to be cutting their losses here, and Renato will be sent back to game fire via that today.
Yeah, it would be... Wow! That was incredible!
Yeah, amazing blink and precision there by the nurse. However, kind of just like a rock in our place here, as they cannot allow either for a heal tech or for the flashlight save. We do see the Fangman going down. Heal tech coming in from the jet. Mia crawling closer and closer here. But
no!
Fangman getting grabbed.
Oh, this is huge value. Just huge value. I hate to use a negative term like the word misplay, but that was a major misplay there. Just stalling there, hoping that the nurse would move over to pick him up, giving the chance for the other survivor to crawl out, but they did not react fast enough. Getting yanked right at the edge there is just devastating.
All right, and we are back for set number 2 of round number 2 of qualifier number 2 of Championship of the Fog, and we got Crimes piling the Spirit here on the Suffocation Pit and looking around for their first chase of this match.
And we've immediately found Chase. We've got survivors everywhere trying to split up, get on gens, pressure 4 gens as quickly as possible. Jack pallet down, a health state down, and a flashlight blind. But we really need to prolong this chase as much as possible. Some great redirects there is going to buy them a little bit of time. And then they're going to take it corner. A good tactical decision here. And we should see 3 survivors on 3 different gens while all this...
Yeah, we do see what looks to be 2 survivors on 1 gen, potentially to prove thyself in hand, and then a second elsewhere. I mean, keep in mind, with these gen progression perks like Prove in the mix, it does mean that these survivors probably mixing up their strategies just ever so slightly. If we are looking at the progression, though, it actually isn't all too well progressed, both at just about maybe 30% at the very most. Looks like Nia jumping off the gen just a little bit early as the Spirit does pass by, and it looks like they will not get found right away. All 3 survivors now pushed off of their respective generators, and Spirit here in chase with what looks to be the Jack.
Yeah, this is really good for Spirit to be chasing in the area where all of the gen pressure was up until a moment ago. And, you know, you do make a good point, not just about prove thyself, but when it comes to the location of some generators, to 2- and 3-man generators, but also when you have, that was a fantastic hit. When you have so many gen regression perks from Killer that, like Pop and Pain Res, both of which we're seeing in this match, that focus on regressing gens down before they get a chance to be completed, focusing on getting a gen done too fast to be interrupted, even if it is then one at a time instead of two or three at a time, can end up saving you time in the long run when you see these intensely effective meta gen regressions.
Yeah, absolutely. Spirit, looking around though, speaking of gen progression, not seen a lot of gen progression here so far. And looks like Savara's kind of reset a lot of their progress here as Spirit was able to take chase around these active gens, and Survivor's kind of nowhere to be seen as these gens just slowly but surely regressing away. Spirit does need to be aware of the fact, though, that Jeff can potentially unhook themselves here if they do linger too long around the hook, however.
And here we see that despite the fact that they have lost gen pressure in the area around hook, we have not lost gen pressure overall. We are still slamming gens as possible. Spirit ensuring that this is going to be a trade, but no. Axe moves away from the hook, doesn't trade. We do have some fantastic dead hard value there, but we are still desperately going to need somebody else to get in here and secure that pull. Now we do have the Survivor on hook at stage 2. 2 gens have been completed, but at what cost?
Yeah, I mean, that is a fantastic question. I'm surprised that we didn't see that one-for-one trade. I was kind of expecting the same thing as you, that Survivors would come in and, you know, trade even if it were at a detriment. Even if that dead hard, that would have pretty much secured it. However, we're now potentially risking the Jeff being sent out to Campfire via the entity by progressing to second stage. And now potentially third. Nancy trying to get in, will take the hit. But once again, not going for the one-for-one. Instead, we see the Nia coming in, will successfully get it here.
You know, they sacrificed a lot to avoid there being a one-for-one trade, but I will credit them. They did succeed in denying a one, though it did lead to a quick down, and now we have the entire team injured yet again. Successful in what they were trying to do, but the question is the cost.
Well, the cost was not all too steep, as we do see a deliverance there from the Nia, meaning that now we have all for Spires off hooks. Looks like Feng Min is the one in chase, will get down pretty quickly, however, and we do have a little bit of a heal party off in the distance. So while the Spires have kind of had a bit of a reset here as far as gens are concerned, they are rallying back pretty quickly here from what was a pretty unfortunate scenario.
They have come back. They've come back pretty quick. It's a shame that with Delhi they cannot fully reset, but we do have half the team now with health states, and we did secure those 2 gen completions, and they were good gen completions to secure. If we can take out that mid-gen or one of the gens on the side of the map Spirit is currently on, we will have successfully prevented a regen, and it looks like we are seeing prioritize breaking up those 3 gens, almost not just over chase but over hook states entirely. But that might pay off for them. That might pay off for them. I mean, having a even if you lose the Survivor, having a Survivor-sided regen in an endgame often makes the difference between a 4K1 and a 2 out.
Yeah, absolutely. And looks like Spirit kind of trying to manage the unhook as well as that down there, doing so massively as they catch the Nia off guard, trying to pass by, going for the unhook. We do see Jeff trying to go for the pickup here, Nurse trying to interrupt, and we also see the Survivor unhook actually progressing to death as well. Spirit doing a fantastic job here and getting it down on the Feng Min to boot, or actually the Nancy as well. So Spirit here showing a masterclass on how to juggle the Survivors here in the middle of the jungle gym, and things are starting to look more and more like a potential 4K here, not just at 3 gens, but I think it would be a bit early to say that Survivors aren't going to complete another gen here after, but it's starting to look like it might be a 4K at 3 gens.
4K3 is an incredible result, even for Spirit. This is really impactful. I think it's a lot of it comes down to combination of Spirit really making sure that Chase stayed focused on areas where gen pressure was the focus for survivors, and additionally on survivors' reticence to go for trades when that really was, unfortunately, the best option they have. I feel like we have kind of fed this spirit here to League of Legends fans.
Yeah, and Nia doing a great job holding the spirit for as long as possible, allowing their team to get one more gen in. So now we're looking at a potential 4K at 2 gens remaining. Nia on their last hook, Jeff as well. The only one not close to being sent back to Campfire via the Entity is the Nancy. I'll have to wait and see if that remains to be the case, as we do see scratch marks off in the distance.
Yeah, depending on the immersion, given that they are both healthy and whether or not they are going to go for pull, given the reality of the 4 gen that exists here, it's not entirely out of the question that they could secure an additional gen completion, and that was a really, really well-timed, well-placed firecracker.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Nancy, the mind game knocked them out into their favor there, as Spirit calling their bluff on the window fake. And we will see them here at the LT wall. Looks like a light will get them a little bit of distance, and Spirit will just barely miss that phase walk.
Even with live, they were just barely ahead of it.
And looks like Spirit, once again, going for the phase walk here. Nancy's going to try and give them as much distance as possible. As we see 2 survivors on the opposite side of the map. Spirit knowing something's up, and we do see survivors dropping off of the gen a little bit early. Looks like Nia a bit concerned that Spirit will be there in just a few moments, and for good reason, as Spirit is in fact in the vicinity, finding the Jeff here. The gen pretty well progressed, but not as close as they probably would like it.
You know what we have not seen a lot of this match, and gotten to you're keeping the POV on survivors has helped us understand this really well. We have not seen a lot of crouching to avoid spirit and her power. We've really heavily relied on exhaustion bursts, which of course has gotten some great value. But here is exactly what I was saying. We had not seen a lot until this point, and while in that instance you did see her realize what was going on and manage to pull a tag out of thin air there at the very last second, it was definitely disorienting for that spirit there for a moment. That is the sort of counterplay we need to see a little bit more at a micro level to manage spirit a bit better.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised that we haven't seen a lot in the way of self-aware or urban evasion, as those 2 perks against Spirit actually really influential and make it very difficult for the Spirit to manage information and knowing exactly where the survivors are. That being said, we do see that on Suffocation, but as Neo walks through the grass here, it can be pretty difficult at times, as the grass can be very telling. It gives a lot of information to the Spirit, as we do see Spirit phase walking back to the main building. Looks like not finding the survivor on the other gen, about 50% of the way through, and looks like Nia's going to need to hold out for at least 45 more seconds in order for Nancy to complete their gen and give their team a little bit of an advantage here in set 2, potentially forcing a set 3.
And here we see her making a decision that's really going to cut both ways. She is moving towards some solid in order to prolong this chase to give her teammate more gen, but also those resources she was moving towards were physically closer to where that gen is being repaired. But with the sprint burst, we're able to get out of that area and take it back to another gen in an area that is more of a more distance away from the gen being worked on. And we do see that last gen completion, or I'm sorry, the 4th gen completion, the last we were expecting to maybe see, which is huge value for the survivors. This looked like it could be a 4K3, a really solid 4K3, and now we have successfully brought it back to a 4K1, which is a really good comeback for the survivors, given the powerful early game that Spirit had.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Definitely was expecting closer to a 4K, maybe 2 gens remaining, even 3 gens remaining if the Spirit had kept up the pressure that they had, but Survivors sticking it out and making it work. Nia almost able to even get the 5th generator here, but looks like they will get caught out just a little bit early. and that there will be the down without an unbreakable here. This will likely result in a 4K here for the Spirit at 1 gen remaining. However, and Spirit is probably realizing this too, if the Nia goes directly to death stage, which they do, that means hatch will open over here on Shaq's side. Nancy sitting on the hatch location too. This is gonna come down to the closest of seconds. Let's see what happens here, folks.
With 1 stage remaining, and there it is, it's close, they get it! With only 1 stage claimed from that survivor as well, they get out 1.
So this is going to come down to the wire, folks. We'll have to wait and see if we do go to a set 3 as we do get the results from the other team. All right, and we are back with what is officially the final set, final game of round 3. So actually round 2, so we'll be moving into round 3 immediately after this, but thankfully we're able to get in and watch Tremor versus Envision, and I do believe it is Tremor killing against Envision survivor team.
This is going to be a really decisive match. We've got 2 survivors looping together here. A lot of opportunity to pull off some incredible stuff looping with friends, and a lot of opportunity to really undermine each other, but we saw them handle that very, very well. And now slugging into Unbreakable, we might see some really, really early major value here. We also have a For the People gamer nearby and ready to sit. Oh, and the For the People gamer is the one who takes a tag through a pallet. That is so rough.
Yeah, unfortunate for the Claudette. That being said, we do see the Blight venture off into the distance, probably trying to get the pickup on the Nia, but with Unbreakable and a pallet stun to boot, Nia going to be giving themselves a little bit of extra time before going up on a hook. Blight, though, going elsewhere, not entirely sure where, but looks like they are back on track chasing the Nia here at main building.
Yeah, it's really impactful if you can do a lot of little things like this to drag out how long it takes the Blight to secure its first hook state in a match, as long as you maintain gen pressure alongside it, and that is exactly what they have done so far. Let's see if they can keep that out.
And with that hook there is a Scourge Hook Pain Residence, regressing most progressed gen by 25%. In addition, I believe you will see here shortly some other perks come into the mix, including Pop Goes the Weasel, which will regress the most, or regress a gen by 30% of its current progression. As far as the third perk is concerned, still a little bit of unknown. However, Cross Invention was in the mix, of course, until the first down on the Nia, and looks like Blight going to be dropping chase with the Claudia, instead going to go back to the unhook, it looks like, and will get a tag on the Ace, though it looks like they will not commit to it, and instead are going to be going for Nia once again.
Yeah, Blight is doing his best, it seems, to try and not chase in the few areas of the map where the survivors have enough resources to be able to adequately handle his power and his capabilities, and instead focus on pushing and zoning people in places where he can handle them very, very quickly, which of course strategically is very sound, but also if he doesn't take away some of the resources in those powerful areas by neglecting them, those resources are going to be available to the survivors to use for a long time. And if he continues to initiate chase with those survivors and leave when they head to power areas, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time lost as well. And we see this. We see them already using that time. I think it's pretty significant jump pressure here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here Terry is back over by the hook. Looks like Blight is nearby. Will find Claudia, trying to sneak in for the hook. Claudia, unfortunately, unable to make it work. And looks like they will try and make use of their Blight rush here in this tile. But Claudia going to outmaneuver them here, getting a little bit of distance. And looks like they have transitioned to chasing the Blight going for the hook. They are going to get tagged. Will be a 1-for-1 trade, it looks like.
We do see down secured here. It is going to be a trade. We get enough distance. Ooh. We will still drop the pallet after the endurance state to little bit of distance here. And with the window vault, I think that we have the resources to lead. Does not fall for the fake. Does swing early, though. Really good. But here we are down, and immediately we are in a really, really dangerous situation where if we're not careful, it could quickly spiral into a 4K2.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting scenario here because the Blight knows exactly where the ace was based on the gen completion. Blight, I think, seen the ace as well, so looking like a 4-man slug at 2 gens remaining. Unbreakable was used earlier, and I don't think there is a Hex perk in use for a potential Soul Guard play. So looking like this will result in a 4K at 2 gens remaining for Tremor. So a pretty quick results here in this final match of set 3, round 2. And now Blight just out on the prowl for the remaining survivors, picking them up and bringing them to the closest. But wait, that's an unbreakable, or not unbreakable, a deliverance.
Ooh. We do have Deli. Can we get the rest of the team?
That's the
Blight is just so fast. He can cover ground so quickly.
Yeah, unfortunate for the survivors, just not close enough for the pickup to try and reclaim a little bit of pressure, bring them back into the game. With that hook, that pretty much will secure things. And if no one near the hatch for a potential escape, I think this here will be a confirmed 4K for the Blight. 3 gens completed by the survivors. We'll have to wait and see what the results are once the other half of this match is completed. That being said, though, we will be able to jump into round number 3 pretty much immediately after the results have been posted, and I imagine we'll be either seeing Envision or Tremor in the next match as well. And then after that, we'll be moving directly to finals. So very excited for that. Hopefully all are too. With that being said, we are going to be jumping into round 3 here in just a few moments. Before we do go, though, we do remind everyone here today that you, yes, you, the viewers, are our sponsors. So all of the as they watch, all of the bits they tip, all the stuff they buy, and of course we're going to buy using code COTF. Go supporting Change the Fog and the prize pool for qualifiers as well as Championship of the Fog, which will be happening on March 30th. Survivors here just kind of hanging out, taking their time, not wanting to go back to lobby just yet, you know, quietly when it's already been so close, or has only been such a short match, but Blight playing efficiently as ever. And with the survivors being sent back to the campfire, that there will be the end of round 2. We'll see you shortly for round 3, folks. All right, and we are back for the final set of this match and of the round, as we are going to be seeing a little bit of Blight play here, as they are going to very quickly find Jeff at the back of Shack. However, looks like there's a few survivors stuck back here. We'll have to wait and see which one the Blight chooses to go for. And it looks like this is maybe the Bangman? No, it looks like Blight once again going to find the Jeff here at the tile, trying to get around and go for a swing, but unable to do so effectively during their blighted rush. Looks like Jeff getting a little bit of distance here and moving up on top of the hill, potentially for a bounce landing.
Great balanced landing, and great. You see a little effort for immersion there. Broke away towards the hill. I really respect that, as much as it is often the optimal play to assume that they know exactly where you are and make sure you're positioned perfectly within the loop, according, especially against Blight. Some aggressive avoidance of chase entirely and successful immersion. If you can manage to lose chase and get distance even once during a chase, is a lot of value.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and looks like Blight will get their first hook here. Jeff desperately struggling to get off their shoulder in time. Will not happen here. Blight off the races, as we will see a Scourge Pain Resonance proc, progressing those progress by 25%, and a very quick follow-up hit there, this time on the Bangman, as well as a pop goes the Weasel, progressing that gen by 25% in addition to the additional aggression beforehand. And Fang Min also going down here, looking like this could potentially be a very quick game.
Yeah, and the pop value, the pain resonance value, the speed at which we're securing multiple down here, the pressure we're immediately going to have on Nia, although we see some really good body blocking there. That's going to matter a lot. He commits to Nia, but he's not. He's going to go for the tunnel out here.
Yeah, Jeff going to be using the lockers to the best of their ability. The question is whether or not they can get to any resources in time. Does not look like it, as Jeff will get immediately picked up again. Like going for the taunt here, going to disregard the possibility of a decisive strike, and it will work out in their favor as Jeff here will be put on second stage immediately, and it looks like Blight will be off the races again. This time going for, looks like Zarina here, who will blind the Blight with Firecracker.
Really, really successful firecracker there. Difficult enough to time firecrackers with the killer isn't moving a million miles per hour. All the more impressive to do so against a really active Blight.
Yeah, absolutely. However, it looks like Blight will get the hit and run here. Going back to Hook to take a look and see if there's anyone going for the unhook. However, it looks like Savara is going to be prioritizing gens here, as that is the main win condition. Looks like Fang Min about 50% on their gen. Nia dropping off, and we do see a resilience here from the Zarina. Blight will end up finding the Fang Min, and with a quick Blighted Rush will get the down as well. Looking like Jeff will potentially, no, looks like someone else was able to get there in time and get the unhook.
Huge value, especially with the amount of time they have to immerse out and get distance. And that is, we saw off the record before, there's no potential for ore rating. Grunts of pain are hidden. We've walked out to the corner of the map and successfully avoided an early tunnel out, which is massive value for the survivors, especially if it's a point somebody can manage to break away and reset Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, though, Jeff will be caught out here. Blight missing their bump, though, on the tile. Jeff making good use of this area. Not fun for the mind games, not getting too greedy, and will get the distance they need to not get down there during that Blighted Rush.
Huge value with all of those successful attempts and immersion and escape for Blight to find this survivor again and quickly. Well played with the off-the-record, incredible off-the-record value off of both of these hooks. But there it is. Unless we have an incoming Black Light blind, and it does not look like we do, that is going to be first death at 4 gen remaining, but we do have a lot of gem pressure here.
Yeah, last time we looked, the survivors were doing a pretty good job on the gens. We see me here about 75%. Zarina completing their gen at main, still injured, mind you. And we do see Nia now in chase with the Blight. And looks like Blight will pursue them further here. Survivors doing a really good job using the obstacles in the map to their advantage, trying to use as many Blighted Rush tokens as possible. However, Nia getting a bit caught out there at the shack with no resources in the area. So looking like this will be a miss at the locker, but a grab nonetheless. And this here will be Nia's first hook, meaning that we probably will see another Scourge Check Pain Resonance, regressing those progression by 25%.
Honestly, huge value to prevent a slug. Slugging is so much more effective than it is already. When there's one survivor at least dead, it's so much more difficult to manage successfully getting resurrection and keeping gem pressure up and dealing with chase. So I think there's a lot of value to be gained by that decision. And we do see deliverance off hook, which means that was all the more valuable. And we know we had that one survivor injured, getting a lot of value for resilience, which was ambitious and daring, but I think we saw the value in that with the gen completions, but now I think rather prudently we have switched off of staying injured with resilience in order to keep those desperately needed health states while trying to 3v1 this Blight.
A little bit of an unfortunate scenario there we just saw where the Blight actually missed the Blighted Rush on the Fang Min, and Feng Min with the Dead Hard falling down into the area below. If they would have stayed on the ramp with the Blight missing their Blight and Rush, they actually could have potentially recovered from that scenario. Unfortunately for them, though, that was not in the cards, and we do see an Engineer leaving the gen a little bit early. Zarina hanging out, maybe trying to set up for the unhook, it looks like. And Blight over to the Shack side to see what the gen progress is looking like. However, they will find no survivors there.
We are going to be able to secure a quick pull here. Whether or not Blight tunnels back to Hook, whether or not Blight happens to find the injured survivor on these are going to be really impactful factors in how this match progresses from here. But the knife is definitely teetering on the edge. The match is definitely teetering on the edge of these survivors.
Yeah, absolutely. Survivors will get that heal. Nia's still hanging out there. I was getting a bit worried there that they may have been staying around for too long and crows were going to spawn. A little tip for you survivors, if you're ever worried about getting crows but need to stay in one place as you're hiding from a killer, you can drop and pick up your item in order to avoid crows from spawning.
Fantastic tip.
Looks like
Huge value.
Will be a chase here with Zarina, and will get a quick lens rush down.
And we've got two survivors on different gens on opposite ends of the map. Exactly what you want to see when you get down to survivor is your teammates all on a bunch of different gens across the map, with Blight moving to bottom side, Shack side, in order to push the other survivor off of their gen. That will give the main building side survivor a chance to come and get a safe unhook. Although now we've got reset at Hook yet again. Yet again, Guilt. Will they be sticking around here for too long? Will they stay for it? They're not. They're able to get a free reset again.
Yeah, I mean, we'll make it definitely helping out there in that instance, as Zuna was the one hooked that time round. But Feng Min, or actually the Nia here, going to be on second hook stage here. All Scourge of Pain Resonance have been used to my knowledge, so no more free regression on these hooks. Blight making way over towards Shack's side, our main side this time, and it looks like Zarina going to be waiting out for the Blight to pass by before making their unhook attempt. And taking a look and seeing where the Feng Min is. Looks like they will get found out by the Blight. Blight gonna take their time though, get that Pop Goes Weasel in, and probably chase them thereafter. Though Terradius kind of moving away, potentially going back for the unhook. No, Blight seeing blood in the water, wanting to get this down on the Feng Min and get another survivor out of this match. Will go for the Blight and Rush, successfully getting it.
Yeah, and we saw, man, that was just huge value. Pop Goes the Weasel with the movement speed that Blight has once you have Survivor down makes it so difficult, even with the distance we have between these gens, to successfully knock out one or two more gens at the end of this game here. But whether or not they're able to do it is going to be a huge factor in whether or not they're going to be able to Blight set after a really strong early game. But we've got some great resources here. Pathing, we're aggressive, yet we're not even going to stick around for it. Killer is not even going to bother. They know that in other areas of the map, they can end chases much faster. Wow!
Yeah, amazing play there by the Blight. And Mia trying to set up a vacuum pallet, but it not working out in their favor as Blight swung early to avoid it. So really good heads-up play there by the Blight. Survivors now definitely stuck between a rock and a hard place. The Feng Min close to completing that gen, but not close enough as the Blight will get the hit. A Dead Hard coming in this time around, though, to extend the chase.
Dead hard value is immense there, and we do have a window, but we do not take it. Instead, we're opting to break away from mid, but it looks like we are going to go down in mid. Now, where's our last survivor? Will we be able to get at least gen done? Because the Blight did not stop to pop that gen in the back corner, 11 o'clock by most people's estimation. So it's possible they could break away at the other gen on the other side of the map. And now we have a struggle off shoulder.
Yeah, liking a little bit ambitious there with that hook, but looks like they're going to change targets here. No, looks like they're actually going to go for the pallet. They did see Zarina, but opted not to go for a quick hit there, instead trying to prioritize the Fang Min here, and Zarina going to be left to their own devices. If they can get it out for long enough, which unfortunately they cannot, Zarina might have a chance at this gen. It's at 50%, 45 seconds. It comes down to what the Blight decides to do next. Will they go from the hook directly? No, they're going to drop. It's a bold move by the Blight.
I honestly respect it, especially since I honestly was expecting them to not be working that gen top. I was expecting them to try and sneak down and hit that that main building generator. But now that they have found the survivor out, the point is moved. We can delay this for a little bit, but with an enormous amount of time on the slug survivors timer, there's no way we are going to be able to last enough.
Yeah, and given that the hook states are what matters, even a bleed out here will not reduce any points that the Blight could claim. So a bleed out is fine here. They're not close enough to the hatch for the Blight to be all too concerned. Instead, they are going to prioritize the hook here on the Zarina, and with Deliverance already used and Zarina moving to second stage, this is looking more and more like a 4K, but Blight might not have a hook close enough.
Yet again, in the exact same area, with this resource from earlier still up, we see the survivor struggling on the shoulder. But quickly down. Hopefully now we can get to a hook and end this.
Yeah, I think at this point it's just going to be ending the suffering of these survivors, as Blight has secured the hook, and it looks like we do have the survivor slugged out in the corner here. For what it's worth, just trying to extend things for as long as possible, maybe trying to make their way over towards the hatch, but I think that the Blight will be camping that out just in case.
A valiant effort, though. I respect it, being relentless until the bitter end.
Absolutely, and if the survivor about a minute or so left until they do bleed out, we're just going to see survivor sent back to campfire via an entity. Blight hanging around. I imagine with that death, they will be hanging out on top of the hatch. Sure enough, there's the Blight, there's the hatch, and there's the closed, but no adrenaline from the survivor. So it is only a matter of time before either EGC or the entity claims them one way or another.
Yes, and correct me if I'm wrong, but with Champions of the Fog rules, survivors will gain no additional points, deny no additional points for dying in the corner or dying undone.
Yep, so in instance of Championship of the Fog, it does not matter for even when the hook state or bleed out occurs. In this case, because a bleed out does add to the number of hook stages as seen on the bottom left-hand corner of the killer's screen. A bleed out at 0 or a bleed out at 2 stages is all the same. Keep in mind that is not the main win condition, as gens are the main ones, so that's why survivors are prioritizing gens as much as possible, and then hook stages are the first tiebreaker, followed by escapes thereafter.
That's going to be a 4K2 for Blight. It was honestly really impressive, given the spread out of those gens, even with Popco's illegal and his speed and the skill of those survivors. We didn't see a pop. That was very well done by the Blight.
All right, and we are back for set number 1 of round number 3, with Boo killing for Tremor versus, who are we versing today? Affliction survivor team.
It's actually been a good long while since I've been able to see a 100 set. I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, no, this should be very exciting, and I'm going to be very interested to see how well the Huntress is, and so far, Boo is on point.
That was a really tight shot there, and he's doing a great job of hiding the red stain.
And that is actually a really big part of Huntress that a lot of people do get incorrect where they are under assumption that mind gaming doesn't matter as much for range-based killers, but it does make a whole lot of difference. That being said, we are going to see agitation in play here as the Huntress will bring Ace here to the basement. Let's take a look and see where the other survivors are. About 75% on this gen. We did see what looked to be a missed skill check regression earlier. Not sure if that was on a two-person gen or the gen here with Mia, who does have Deja Vu, giving them a little bit of a progression bonus as well.
This is going to be really impactful, having back hook in basement on this map. We are asking for trouble. We will have to see how these survivors handle it. As well as the killer, will they commit and give them a free opportunity to unhook? Do they stick to their gens on the knowing that she might throw a hatchet, but that she's not actually going to commit and let them pull for free? It's going to be a lot of anticipating on the survivor's part of how the killer is going to handle this and what they will let them get away with.
Yeah, it looks like right now the survivors are kind of cutting their losses. Understand the Huntress has just a insurmountable amount of pressure there in basement. I think we're even going to see a self-unhook there by the Ace. I think that may have been the self-unhook mechanic in play, because I think you still get progression towards that, even with the Huntress on a different level. However, Huntress is going to be eating through both the endurance stats effect plus, and looks like Ace will move to second stage one way or another, but this will give their survivor teammates a little bit more time to work on these gens before they potentially are sent back to campfire via the entity.
Even with OTR, just pour them right back down there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Huntress in basement is just a force to be reckoned with. We do see Huntress coming out a little bit, realizing the error of their ways, it looks like, as self-unhooks are allowed. And we will see a kick of the gen there. That there does not appear to be a pop, I don't believe. Let me take a look at the Huntress perks right now. As far as we know, there is agitation, corruption invention, and I do believe survivors were made aware of deadlock as well. But looks like survivors trying to make their way into the unhook here. We hear Huntress raising their hatch, and looks like it is for the Nia. And looks like Huntress actually going to be going down into the basement, sensing something's off. And there is the unhook on the Ace. A hit on the Ada. The hit on the Ace. They're going to drop the pallet just in case, and will get out of basement. So there's the win there. However, Ada, though, still a bit stranded, left behind.
Yeah, but it looks like she might actually be able to get out of here, and it commit to the tunnel out. Third gen now complete, and there it is.
I mean, realistically speaking, 3 gens for 3 hook stages. The survivors are actually getting out pretty good here given circumstances.
The survivors are in a strong position. They have gotten a lot of value. The only question is going to be, well, 3v1 well enough to get 2 gens done.
Yeah, absolutely, especially as Ada trying to hide out from the Huntress here. Huntress knowing there's someone nearby, but not knowing exactly where, but Ada seems to have been able to escape. If they were found out, that would have been huge for the killer, but looks like they were able to just narrowly evade as a 4th generator now popping off for these survivors.
And we can see with Deja Vu from that survivor's perspective that they have a great gen split at this point. We're going to see a full reset. This is a lot of value. A lot of value.
Yeah,
good to keep in mind that crouching reduces the sound of your grunts of pain, as well as the sound of your breathing when you're uninjured, which is a big part of how she was able to sneak away there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's some of those small things that people really do miss out on when they're playing just kind of their day-to-day Dead by Daylight. Even as small things, since we were talking about range-based killers, I always like to point out is the fact that survivors can actually tell when the Deathslinger is aiming down sights within range of the Redeemer, because you can hear the ringing in your ears. It's a nice little touch that behavior has added to some of these killers, and can give you a lot of information and give you some advantage that you might not otherwise have. Looks like Huntress will be in chase with Nia here. Nia, with not a lot in the way of resources, just going to be looping this tile here. I'm not even sure you can really call it a tile, but they're going to take the hit and looks like they're going to make it to the pallet nearby. Not going to drop it though, going to force the Huntress to play smart here. A low mind game from the Huntress though will result in the down.
It is really difficult to hold a middle position on a loop that unsafe.
Yeah, absolutely. Nia's trying to make the best of it, but looks like I'm just going to be dragging them all the way to his hook and the nearby gen. Ada going to be hiding out. Huntress sensing that there's definitely someone nearby, but let's take a look at the Nancy's gen. Just over 50%, so Huntress cannot stay all too long, and I think realizing that they have since moved to, or towards Nancy's gen at the very least. No, the lullaby's gone. Looks like Huntress going to prioritize the tunnel out here instead, though we do see them making their way over towards the Nancy once again. Ada looking around for an opportunity, but I think the Nancy commits to this gen. I think it will be completed in time. Once again, no lullaby. Looks like they got distracted by the Ada here. That there's going to be the 5th gen completed. Exegate's now powered, and I think that may have been an adrenaline as well, healing the Nia. And this here is looking to be a potential 2-man out in favor of Affliction Survivor team.
Honestly, depending on how bold they are, it could be a 3-out, but I anticipate they will 2 out if they can get it.
Yeah, especially based on the placement of the Ada. If they're nearby an Exegate, I could see it, but I think they are so far away from that this is pretty much going to be a confirmed 2-man out. We did see an Exegate over nearby. If they can come in for a body block, maybe they can get there. But it's going to be a tall order, especially as the Huntress will mind game the Ada, resulting in a down. We see 2 survivors on the other side of the map. I think they probably will cut their losses here and secure the 2-man out, as Huntress will probably be camping, or at least proxy camping, pretty close by with the hatchet in hand. And
that'll be a 2K7.
Yeah, so honestly, good results from both sides. The Huntress did a really good job. Survivors did a really great job rallying back as well in response to the Huntress early game pressure. And now we kind of see both survivors maybe talking things out, debating whether or not they should stay or they should go. Either that or waiting to see if Huntress will lob a hatchet nearby, and looks like that there will be the 4% from the Ada, and that there will result in the confirmed 2K.
A solid match. Solid match by Boo. Really, really impressive match by the survivors here. They could not have done more to take advantage of that camping.
All right, and we are back for set number 2, round number 3, Affliction surviving against Tremor's Affliction surviving against Tremor's Killer. It'd be kind of strange if they were surviving against Tremor's surviving team, but you know, that's what we thought Affliction was going to be.
And we start off with a really solid dodge by Nia there. A great flare out, taking chase into Shack. Luckily for Killer, we are chasing into the area where the gens are not blocked by Corrupt Intervention, but it does not look like we are still on top of that survivor's location.
Yeah, it looks like Nancy will
I am wrong is what it looks
just
like.
a little bit, running into the Killer, it would seem. And now Dustin's going to be zoning Nancy out, will get the hit and the down to boot. And this is going to be the first hook of this match, unless there is a quick pallet stun, but does not appear to be the case. So this will be first hook, and I believe a Scourge Hook Pain Residence as well.
But no dead man switch. We are also, people might have noticed some extra speed coming out of that attack there. We are building stacks of save the best for last as well. Let's see if he can keep those stacks up. If the survivors notice it, if they counterplay it, if they try and force some obsession hits, it could make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, it's always interesting when it comes down to those obsession hits, as you can really force them by body blocking, by taking hits for unhooks, so on and so forth. But looks like he's going to take the hit here, but no follow-up from the Slinger. Instead, going to be going for Ada here, and somehow has managed to avoid the Nia, who is the obsession, and at this point has about 4 stacks of save up and ready.
really successfully building stuff while racking up pain res value as well as a lot of health states. This is fantastic pressure for 5 gens still remaining. But we do see a reset there on the Nia.
Yeah, I imagine that looks like it may have been the ace, as Nia's still sitting on a gen about 75% of the way to being completed. Scourge Choke Pain Resonance once again coming into play, but they did not regress the Nia's gen from the looks of things, so must mean there are 2 gens pretty close to completion.
We would hope so, and they are going to need that gen pressure if they are going to manage Deathslinger at the potential he is quickly building to. With the fast reload and the fast attack speed, he's going to be an absolute menace.
Yeah, and we kind of see the Deathslinger opting not to go for chase with the Nia because they are the obsession, wanting to hold on to those save the best for last stacks. And looks like we are going to see, well, looks to be the ace as well as the Ada. Deathslinger going to go for the aggressive play here, trying to swing around the bus, and will get it over too.
That was so good. Were they injured already?
Yeah, they were injured off the hook, so this is the tunnel out attempt.
That is fantastic value. We do see the first gen go, and we won't see another pain resonance proc since this is the tunnel out, but that is so much value in and of itself.
Yep, and Deathslinger taking a moment to kind of just drink in their success thus far, and going to now go back out on the prowl for another survivor. Survivors, though, 2 gens in, definitely not going down without a fight, as we do see a survivor coming in for the Unhook. Looks like this is the Nia coming in for the Unhook, but the Deathslinger able to get the shot on the Ada, dragging them back, going to hit them with the Deep Wound Staz effect, trying not to give them any additional distance.
Also getting rid of any ability to utilize Dead Hard, OTR, Borrowed Time. Without Decisive, this will be it. Oh my god, that attack speed. I remember what it was like when we got the change, the base kit 2 stacks of Stabifil to all killers. This is effectively what old 9 stacks, what it would have been to have 9 stacks under the old system.
Yeah, it definitely is worthwhile for killers like the Deathslinger, as we're seeing here. 1 star impacted campfire via the entity, leaving a 1v3 scenario, and we now have the ace here. Deathslinger going to be any downsides. We hear that Redeemer in the ears of ace, but sometimes that snapshot's going to get you, and Deathslinger is just going to break the chains there and commit the chase thereafter, but Terradius still approaching, not much in the way of resources back here for the ace, so they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, and I think at this point we're just going to be seeing them go to the comp corner to buy the team as much time as possible.
And that they do. We can only hope that the 2 remaining healthies both on different gens.
Yeah, that would be the hope for the sake of this survivor team. We do see Nia actually on a gen about to complete it, so it's very real possibility. However, that was the first hook. Ooh, that may have not been a Scourge Choke Pain Res. In fact, I don't think it was, so 2 gens popped off. No regression on them whatsoever, meaning that Slinger, in a bit of an unfortunate scenario, if that hook was a pain res hook, that would have given the Slinger some more time to get over to those gens before they're completed. However, instead, we're going to see Slinger kind of box out these survivors, trying to allow these gens to regress as much as possible.
Yeah, everybody knows that going corner can do a lot to give everyone on your team more time, but without agitation, it is a fantastic counter to make it much more difficult to achieve pain res value consistently. We saw that come through.
Yeah, absolutely. We do see now Deathslinger going to be back on the ace, wanting to get a little bit of a timeout once again. And we do want to note the ace here with the off-the-record timer ticking down. However, Slinger's been pretty good about making sure that they play around these endurance stats effects, but this time will take the hit. However, with 7 stacks of save, able to get the follow-up shot immediately with no hesitation.
And yeah, and I'm gonna guess, yeah, that's gonna be 8 stacks now, right into that pickup.
Yeah, really, really well played here by Slinger. It's going to be a secured 2K for them. I'd imagine at the very least, as Ace still has 1 stage left. However, we did see 2 survivors on the gens earlier. Looks like Nia did leave a little bit early as they are still injured from their earlier engagement. And that was a Scourge Like Pain Resonance, and we see the gen sparking, so that was 25% off that gen as well.
That might be all the time that they need. If he can just get eyes on one of the remaining survivors, his ability to engage and quickly end chase is at as much. He's got all the lethality he can possibly get at this point, and only having to swing once from 8 stacks to down the obsession is fantastic for him maintaining that lethality.
And in addition to that, there is the 4th stack of Scourge Hook Pain Resonance as well. So that will be the last time we see that 25% regression on the most progressed gen. But honestly, this could start to look like it is going to result in 4K at 1 gen remaining if the Deathslinger keeps up the pressure at the rate they have been. And I have no reason to think that they won't, as we see Ace nearby trying to go in for the unhook, meaning Ada is the 1 survivor left on a gen, and imagine a Slinger should, keywords, be checking that gen here shortly.
We will see. It's going to be rough for him to stop a single gen from getting done. 2 healthy survivors of the able to pressure hook and 3 different generators, but it is possible. But it would have required him not commit so hard to proxying, and that he did. So I think we will see another generator go.
Yeah, I think you're right as well. We are going to see that hit from the Ace. The follow-up shot not able to take place. Ace going to be trying to buy as much time as possible, but there's the down.
Jesus, the attack speed at 8 stacks is wild.
Yeah, it is something else. So let's take a look and see the progress on the gen. It's actually not as progressed as I thought it was going to be. We see here about 75%, but survivors actually having to leave early lest they end up risking the Deathslinger coming in and surprising them.
With 2 survivors left, good pressure on gens, one of those survivors healthy, and some distance between those gens. If they aggressively pre-leave and play this in a conservative and controlled way, we could still see another gen pop, but the pendulum has definitely swung back in Deathslinger's favor.
Yeah, 1000%, and we are going to see that shot there on Nia. Not able to connect, though. Nia making good use of their distance and drawing Deathslinger as far away from the gen as possible. I'd imagine that Nancy is going to be on it and trying to complete it. Only 45 seconds was left on the gen, and I think the Nia will buy their teammate that amount of time and then some.
Even just that walking there in the loop as the killer went to go dodge around the side is so impactful. Precious seconds, and there it is! The last lead.
Yeah, but now it comes down to, can Nancy escape? The 5th gen is definitely a lot and will go a long way towards the winning condition, as that will mean Affliction's survivors, or rather Tremor survivors, will need to get at least 5 gens. But then it comes down to hook states and escapes. And so it's going to be a tall order to ask the survivor to escape via the X gates at this point in time, though there's nothing saying that they couldn't escape via the hatch, hence why Deathslinger is sticking by the shack here for as long as they are.
Yeah, and we have not seen any pressure on those exit gates either.
And if we take a look
The driver
around...
there is, yeah, holding a safe place and keeping their options open.
Yeah, I mean, there's no good way for the survivor to sneak on over to these exit gates. Not to mention, and not to ruin the surprise when it eventually does happen, but especially when you can take into consideration the fact that there are 4 stacks of no way out in the mix as well.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, so there's quite literally no way out. There's the activation. Deathslinger knows exactly where they are. Might be a little bit of a bait from the Nancy, though, as that will give them a noise notification. Not sure if the Nancy would have been aware, but could have tempted some greedier killers to go for the down that way instead of closing the hatch prior to, but Deathslinger at this point just has to wait out EGC, with there still being roughly another 30 seconds on the clock for no way out. That means that Nancy will only have roughly a minute 30 left before they do die by the entity's hands.
Honestly, I respect the really, really quick proc of No Way Out. I think it's going to give ooh her the best chance of being able to sneak through a different gate or have the killer think that she might get out, but no.
I mean, it was a smart hesitate by the Nancy, trying to see if they could cause the Deathslinger to panic, thinking they might have gone to the other exit gate. And being a 110 killer, it would have given them plenty of time. 20 seconds of time, I'm not entirely sure, but nonetheless, really well played by both sides. And we'll let you guys know here in just a few moments who won in set number 2. All right, and we are back, and we are going to get a little bit of an extra game out of round 3 as we are here to watch set number 3 of Envisions versus Crime. And folks, we get to see a Trickster in the mix.
We don't get to see a lot of Trickster in comp, but when you have people who have truly mastered what can be done with his daggers, how much of a menace he can be in a 1v1, it really is a privilege to watch.
Yeah, no, definitely, the few times we've seen Trickster, they've been actually some pretty handily won games by the killer. We're seeing that here as this Trickster with a very quick down.
And now we are going to see, well, without killer view, I can't tell if we did see it, but we have got first hook out of the way. Corrupt is out of the way. Yep, that was a pain res proc.
And as far as other perks are concerned, we haven't really revealed them just yet. So as far as we're aware, we just know of Corrupt and Scourge of Pain Residence. You do see main event coming in against the Ace here. Ace trying their best to stay upright, but Trickster definitely making it difficult for them.
Looks like we're going to focus on heavily frosty camping. Main event value is good here.
And
that is
Claudette down. Looks like they will not be able to get both Claudette as well as Nia, but looks like we will see the hook here. Another Scourge of Pain Resonance as well, regressing the most progressed gen by 25%. And Dwight here, probably a little bit not all too happy about that, as they also miss a 7% as well, meaning that that will be 10% off of that gen.
Yeah, that is really impactful. And then it looks like he set Blast Mine there and just ran on by.
Yeah, I think between a 25% plus the missed skill check, they are probably pretty happy with the state of things. Trickster, though, also finding the injured Ace. Going to be a very quick down. It's a very unsafe tile against the Trickster. And this will be Ace here on first hook, and another Scourge Hook Pain Residence as well. So that's now 3 stacks of Scourge Hook. Main event is in hand for the Trickster, and looks like Dwight going to be leaving just a little bit early to avoid a potential main event in their back.
They have gotten fantastic value out of Pain Resonance at this point. It really does highlight how it's all the more effective to proxy and then tunnel back to hook and then switch away to whoever is the rescuer and not the person on hook if you've got a third hook in order to just get pain res after pain res after pain res.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nia going down underneath the pallet. Trickster sensing that there might be a survivor nearby. And sure enough, there was the Claudette in the wings, ready and waiting for a potential pickup. And a
what was that
knife
shot?
right in between the truck and the engine for the down.
That was absolutely wild.
Yeah, definitely not expected, but Trickster able to make it work, and they're going to bring him down to the basement, but it's going to be close before they are able to shrug off their shoulder, but not close enough as Trickster will successfully get the hook. 0 gens have been completed so far.
With 4 hooks.
Yeah, really, really well played here by the Trickster.
Yeah, and when you think about the fact that not only is it difficult to aim those daggers, but as you alternate from left hand to right hand, you throw along a different path. To be able to throw accurately to 10 shoulders of space like that is just all the more impressive.
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. And we see the survivors resetting a little bit, getting Survivor out of the basement. However, Nia here going to be put on second stage, so both her as well as Claudette will be one stage away from being sent back to Campfire via the entity, leaving the Ace and Dwight here to try and complete as many gens as possible. Looks like Trickster avoiding that gen, not going to go for the kick right away. Want to try and see if they can find someone with main events still in hand. Ace here, the closest they have been to completing a gen, about 75% of the way through. And we will see Claudette getting healed from their med kit. But no one in chase as of right now.
We really needed this relenting of pressure for the survivors in order for them to catch up here. Now we see some camaraderie value, which will be fantastic for the survivor stuck on hook if they want to not lead to a really
I also do want to point out one other thing that we did see revealed was the fact that Ace, the Obsession, seen the Trickster's aura on completion of the gen. And that can only mean one thing, folks, that there is a Rancor in the mix.
Oh, yeah.
Not something that we see all too often, but definitely can get a lot of value. However, Ace is going to be sent back to Campfire sooner than Endgame here, as this here will be their second hook. Only survivor not to be hooked at this point in time, and only one not to be one stage away from being sent back to Campfire is Dwight. So Trickster still does also have one more Skirt Choke Pain Resin stack in hand, so something for these survivors to keep in mind.
Yeah, he easily could end up being out of the with 2 hooks down, but given that there are 2 other options as far as survivors who are second staged already, I think if the Trickster can help him, he will save our Obsession for last.
Yeah, definitely would make a lot of sense, but Survivor is not going to go down without a fight. We will see the second gen completed here. Another gen about 25% of the way in. Nia forced off of their gen, it looks like, as Trickster is here, but not going to commit to Nia instead. Looks like they are going to be going back for the potential unhook. Claudette trying to make their way there, but I think Trickster will be able to keep them at bay until they do die to the entity.
Now, if they're close enough and the other survivors stay far away, able to unhook, right?
Yes, they are able to unhook, but we actually see the unhook attempt there. But
Oh!
it looks like it's just too late.
Oh, it's brutal, man!
That is an unfortunate scenario there. It just activated as soon as they went to death. Ace was rocking the unhook animation, and the game just said, nah, you're just a few moments too late, and that was that for the Ace. However, survivors using the time that they were given for getting that third gen, it looks like.
We are going to have everybody hooked at least here with this stage. 2 gens remaining, about to be, there it is, 1 gen remaining. There's our last pain resonance, just a moment too late. Wow, if it wasn't for that pain res, we would have seen both of those gens done right then and there.
Yeah, honestly, talk about cutting it close there, both on the unhook and then the Skirt Choke Pain Resonance. The survivor's just not able to catch a break, it would seem.
Given the reality, not just of the gen pressure, but of the hook state, this is going to be a challenge for them to make sure that Trickster doesn't snowball here. But they should be able to get one additional gen done. But man, hats off to the survivors coming back from incredible pressure and a number of hook states, almost half a dozen hook states before single gen got done, to now barely held back from having their last gen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We are seeing the Dwight there move to second stage. Claudette just hanging out on the gen. Trickster does see them, though, and will throw a few knives out in their direction. Nia just unable to do anything, and will be trying to go in for the unhook here. I imagine Trickster going to be trying to force the Claudette off their gen. Will successfully do so. Claudette now in chase with the Trickster as Dwight will get unhooked. The question is, will they have enough time to complete one last gen before the Claudette goes down?
I think it's going to come down to whether or not the survivors successfully take chase to the areas where it will prevent Trickster from being able to proxy the gen, and when and where that Trickster commits. And it looks like the survivors understand that very well. Their positioning, their game sense, their zoning is exactly where it needs to be. As long as they be prudent and conservative here, there's not much the Trickster will be able to do.
Yeah, and it looks like Trickster committing to the Claudette. Claudette going to bring him far away from Shaq. This is looking like the 5th gen will be completed here in just one moment, though Claudette giving the Trickster a little bit of distance. There's the dead hard, but there's the hit through it nonetheless. Trickster being as patient as possible. But Exegate's just not in a good spot. I imagine Survivor's going to be trying to go for a 1-1 split. But I think Trickster here will be able to tell exactly where they are, as that is no way out, folks.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. If only he had report in effect now, but he still has the information from each of those gen pops, whether he gets to reinforce somebody or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And looks like Nia going to be the one in chase here at Shaq. Trickster going around trying to avoid them, but a main event incoming. I imagine they're going to end up taking the injured status effect here. And looks like Trickster will run out of main event before they're able to get the down. However, Nia's still in dire straits as they need to hold out just a little bit longer before main event does expire. We see Dwight just sitting here waiting desperately for that entity blocker to go away, but Nia doing the entity's work here and just managing the Trickster here at Shaq.
Oh no.
Looks like they will get cut off, and that there will be the down on the Nia.
That was a lot of value, a lot of value. It's a fantastic job. We even saw her trying to bait swings through the window, diving in close and then diving away. Yeah, that's going to be it. From the window as we were looping there, but after we doubled back on our check spot and Trickster was running through, that was it.
Yes, indeed, and do want to remind our viewers here today, as well as our competitors, of some of our sportsman-like conduct rules. One of the ones that we specifically do say in regards to BM that is not allowed is what we refer to as ground humping. So please do respect the rules, otherwise you will receive a warning and a potential match, if not game loss. And if you are too much of an offender, that there will result in disqualification, not just from a tournament, but from all of future tournaments that COTF does host. So please be mindful for that in the future. We do appreciate your compliance with that. And I imagine this Trickster will also be getting a talking to from one of our admins here very shortly. That being said, nonetheless, we'll give credit where credit to Trickster that they did play very, very well.
As did the survivors. I mean, that incredible early game, so much pressure. We had so many hook states with a single gen dash done. We move it along 5 gen lead and almost have the exit done through full stack with no way out, which is quite an accomplishment. Really, we got a PM on there as well.